people and the authorities of Belgium. We're solidarity to fight terrorism here and abroad and to bring to court all those responsible to plan and commit those crazy acts. We condemn firmly the terrorist attacks of Brussels. We are revolted, deeply saddened. At this point, there's no Canadian victims or injured Canadians, in our embassy services are going around the hospitals and verified, and there's no signs that there's some Canadian injured or victims. We continue to follow all the situation and by all possible channels, and we are in constant communication with Belgian authorities. I've spoken with our ambassadors, the ambassador to NATO, to the European Union, and for the Kingdom of Belgium. All our employees are safe and sound. I've contacted the Belgian ambassador here in Ottawa and the European Union ambassador here in Ottawa to share our solidarity and our friendship as a Canadian people. Sadly, these attacks were anticipated by the security services, but they're hard to fight against. And terrorists cannot win. It's not an issue, and we will continue to strengthen our determination and solidarity. I'll give you a phone number. Canadian citizen in Brussels needing help, emergency help by the consular, they can contact the embassy at 32-2-741-0611. They can also contact by phone 24 hours on 24 the Canadian Centre of Surveillance on the free toll at 1-613-996-8885. An email can be sent as well as sos@internationalcommerce.gc.ca.
Hearing the screams of children in the smoke of the Brussels metro only strengthens our resolve to combat terrorism in all its forms and increases our solidarity with the people of Belgium and the whole of Europe. We strongly condemn today's awful terrorist attacks in Brussels. Our thoughts are with the victims, and we stand with our friends, Belgium, and the whole of Europe, to help and prevent terrorism here and abroad, and to bring to justice those who are responsible for planning and carrying these senseless acts. We join the Prime Minister in adding our thoughts and deepest sympathies with those affected by the incidents in Brussels. To date, we have no reports of any Canadian citizens being affected by the incidents. I have spoken to all our ambassadors in Belgium, including the ambassador of Belgium, NATO, and the EU. And I am assured that our Canadian staff are safe, and we are actively pursuing information on all our channels. I also contacted the Belgian ambassador and to the EU ambassador here in Ottawa to carry all the sympathy of the Canadian people. My Emergency Watch and Response Center and the Embassy of Canada in Brussels are closely monitoring the situation. I will give some phone numbers that may be helpful. Canadian citizens in Brussels requiring emergency consular assistance should contact the Embassy of Canada in Brussels at 32-2-741-0611 or call Global Affairs Canada's 24 hours, 7-day emergency watch and response center, collect at 1-613-996-8885 or at 1-800-387-3124. Now I will ask the Minister of Safety of Canada, Mr. Goodale, to explain the situation here in Canada.
Thank you, Stephane. First of all, I want to extend my condolences to the victims, the families of the victims, and the people of Belgium on this tragic day, a day that the whole world shares in a sense of grief and loss, and our thoughts and prayers are certainly with those most directly affected. I also want to associate myself with the strong words of condemnation expressed by the Minister of Foreign Affairs for this abhorrent behavior, the violence and the senseless killing of innocent people is absolutely unacceptable, and it is condemned in the strongest terms by the entire world. From a safety and security point of view here in Canada, of course, our security officials, the RCMP, CSIS, and others are always alert, always vigilant, and particularly on a day like this one. We have at this moment no reason to change the existing threat level for Canada. That threat level was established in October of 2014 at medium, and it remains unchanged. It is, of course, always under review. It's constantly being assessed and reassessed, but at this moment there is no reason to believe that that threat level for Canada should in any way be changed. CSIS and the RCMP are fully engaged in this matter. There is an RCMP liaison officer on the ground in Brussels. We have offered all of our assistance and support to our counterparts in Brussels, to Canadians generally. At this moment, when an event like this happens, the advice clearly is to stay alert, stay vigilant, be aware of your circumstances and your surroundings. If you notice anything that you consider to be unusual or out of the ordinary, then you should report that circumstance immediately to your local police. At this moment, to the very best of our knowledge, there is no Canadian connection or involvement in this situation.
J'ai juste peut-être résumé le message de sécurité que vient de donner le ministre.
Message that Minister Goodale just gave, whereas the Canadian security measures hasn't changed, the RCMP and our security services are really attentive, and the Minister is asking to all to be vigilant in the given circumstances.
It is budget day in Canada, and not to focus on the nearness of Parliament Hill, but do you anticipate any change in the security level around this area because it is budget day?
The arrangements made for Budget Day are obviously special in any event because of the unusual access to the building. The RCMP and the security service on the Hill will be doing everything they need to do to maintain very strong security. Today, Canadians can be assured they're doing their jobs.
Well, the question was to know whether the security measures on this budget day in Ottawa were maintained, and Mr. Goodale is saying that they will be maintained, and all the given attention, or the wanted attention, will be given in order to protect the Parliament Hill on this budget day.
Is the security of airports in Canada, is there an extra threat right now, and are you enhancing the security in the embassies of Canada around the world, in Europe and in other countries right now? Are you changing anything in the airports in Canada and in the embassy abroad?
I will let Stephane respond to the second part of that question about the embassies. In relation to airports, there is no information available to either the RCMP or CSIS that would lead us to any change in threat levels. That being said, obviously, when an event like this happens, the police and security services are on their guard and making sure that all of the necessary circumstances are properly under surveillance, and that every possible step is taken to make sure that Canadians are safe.
Public transit service.
Concerning the security measures in airports, Mr. Goodale just said that we are not changing the security measures. They're already at a high level, but the attention of our security services will be doubled in the circumstances. Now, concerning the embassies, I'm in contact with our 3 embassies in Belgium. And I wanted to say how much I'm proud of our ambassadors and all our teams on the ground, working very hard today in solidarity with, in coordination with the Belgian authorities. And I'm asking asking them, despite of their all professionalism and their sense of duty, to respect all the security norms and to be very careful for their own person.
Was about the embassies. We have 3 embassies in Brussels. I'm in contact with each of them. I wrote to the 3 ambassadors of NATO, of the EU, and of the Kingdom of Belgium. I'm very proud of their professionalism, their dedication, but I asked them to be very careful and to work very closely with the security forces of Belgium.
Just on public transit. We asked about airports. We've got to deal with public transit.
With all of the things that you've mentioned, whether it's airports or public transit, that's part of the critical infrastructure of the country, and those are the very first features of our public life in Canada that the security services redouble their efforts. In addition to what the RCMP and CSIS would be doing directly, they are in touch with all of their municipal or provincial counterparts across the country. This is a seamless effort. It's being coordinated through CSIS, the RCMP, and the Government Operations Centre. Canadians can be assured that their police and security services are alert and vigilant and taking the steps that are necessary across the country.
In the airports, as well as in public transit, should we increase security? And didn't Belgium lower their guard following the arrests earlier last week? Once again, as Minister Goodale said, we're not changing the security measures, but in circumstances, the security forces are more attentive than ever, and they will look at things closely, including in all the public transportation systems. Now, as for your second question, Belgian authorities have did everything that was possible in order to prevent those attacks, and those attacks are difficult to counter. It's been many times that Brussels were under alert, but it's really hard to counter. And what we must tell ourselves and repeat ourselves is that terrorism has no winning end. In all those attacks and all those killings, all the democratic countries have more resolve to fight terrorism, and that's what we must tell ourselves. Thank you.